This is video number 2 of the final chapter in Brotherhood of Darkness. Number 2. Professor Quigley discovered a copy of Cecil Rhodes' Confession of Faith among Lord Milner's papers. There Cecil Rhodes asked the rhetorical question, "Why should we not form a secret society with but one object, the furtherance of the British Empire, for the bringing of the whole uncivilized world under British rule, for the recovery of the United States, for the making of the Anglo-Saxon race but one empire?" Rhodes' Confession of Faith was attached to the first 5 of his 7 wills. It was not included in his last 2 wills because the secret society was formed in February 1891. Number 3. Professor Quigley was allowed to examine the Round Table Group's secret records. Number 4. Extensive documentation of the fact that Cecil Rhodes created a secret society can be found in Chapter 3 of Professor Quigley's book, The Anglo-American Establishment. Number 5. H.G. Wells wrote about the secret society in his book, The New Machiavelli. In an earlier book, Experiment in Autobiography, he wrote about a dinner club he had belonged to called the Coefficients. The members were recruited from 2 groups: Bertrand Russell, George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells, and Sidney Webb represented the Fabian Socialists. Lord Milner, Leopold Amory, Lord Brand, Sir Edward Grey, Lord Cecil, and several others represented the British aristocracy. Lord Milner, Lord Brand, and Leo Amory were also members of Rhodes' secret society, and Sir Edward Grey was either a member or closely aligned with it. The 2 groups controlled the foreign and domestic policy of Great Britain for many years. Leo Amory joined Rhodes' secret society during the Boer War and remained a member during the remainder of his life. In 1940, he rose from his seat in Parliament, pointed at Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, and shouted, "You have sat too long here for any good you have been doing. Depart, I say. Let us have done with you. In the name of God, go." Neville Chamberlain resigned several days later, and Winston Churchill became the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Was he a member of the secret society? I don't know, but I have a copy of a letter he sent to H.G. Wells in which he wrote, "It is quite impossible, as I am sure you realize, for me to discuss these matters outside the secret circle." In Chapter 1, I noted Winston Churchill's reference to Lord Tennyson's poem, Locksley Hall, as the most wonderful of modern prophecies. Why did Churchill support Cecil Rhodes' effort to federate the world? The answer to that question will surprise you. Although H.G. Wells' book, The New Machiavelli, was a work of fiction, he described the Coefficients but renamed the dinner club the Pentagram Circle. That was an odd name for a group of the most prominent men in Great Britain, but as our story progresses, you will understand why he used that name. He called Rhodes' secret society the Confederates. It was led by a German named Krupp, a pseudonym for Lord Milner, who was German. The following conversation can be found on page 340 of the New Machiavelli. The character who represented H.G. Wells asked Krupp, Lord Milner, "Are you a Confederate?" I asked suddenly. "That's a secret nobody tells," he said. "What are the Confederates after?" Making aristocracy work, I suppose, just as I gather you want to do. The Confederates were being heard of at that time. They were at once attractive and repellent to me, an odd secret society whose membership nobody knew, pledged, it was said, to impose an ample constructive policy upon the conservatives. In the press, at any rate, they had an air of deliberately organized power. Number 6. Frederick Howe was never aware of Rhodes' secret society, but Lord Milner's men told him about their plan to unite the world when he met them at the Paris Peace Conference in 1919. Since he was a well-known peace activist, President Wilson asked him to review the English and French treaties related to the disposition of Palestine after the war. Frederick Howe believed in the sanctity of treaties. He was convinced that Great Britain was forced to enter the war because of a 50-year-old treaty with Belgium. And I will stop it right there, and we will pick up with video number, what video are we in? Number 3. Yep, video number 3. In the next video, we are in the final and 4th chapter of Brotherhood of Darkness. Because this is a longer chapter, it will take several videos. But it's not a long book at all. We're almost done. Thank you for listening.